Welcome back everybody. Today we are talking about musk fragrances. I did a shorts video and an Instagram reel on some pretty musk fragrances that I found in my own collection. I have been exploring musks a little bit more lately. Previously I haven't really been that, fixated on sort of musky fragrances. I think perhaps I definitely enjoyed some musky fragrances without consciously thinking about them as being musky fragrances. But lately I've sort of had a bit of an obsession with them. So I've been seeking them out when trying to sample stuff to see what's out there and, is there anything that's, I guess, better than what I already have. So I have some things here that I've been able to get my perfumey paws on, and I thought I would share them with you. Just give you my random thoughts. So it's kind of, I guess you could consider this to be a bit of a sample snippets video, but with a theme of musk. So originally musk was obviously sourced from animal sources. That doesn't really happen anymore, at least I certainly hope it doesn't. So generally these days, musk in fragrances is derived from aroma chemicals, and there is a plant-based musk as well, which is the ambrette. But for the most part, most of the musks we smell in modern perfumery, I believe, are synthetic musks. So the first cab off the rank, this is a little travel size of Kayali Musk 12. This was given to me, so you can see this is a 10 ml bottle. It's it's sort of more than half empty. I did not use that, so it's sort of been given to me largely like this. I have spritzed it a couple of times, obviously, because I've been testing it. So this one I was really surprised by. I have really been enjoying this fragrance. In fact, I might spritz it on today because I'm not wearing anything yet. This is a very fluffy, diffusive musk fragrance. Doesn't have the most incredible lasting power, but it is definitely the type of musk that I was looking for when I went looking for musk fragrances. It's got a clean aspect to it. It's just slightly sweet, so it's quite pretty. There are some really light florals in here, really sort of airy, wispy floral notes. They're quite transparent, so they're not heavy notes. There's a hint of woodiness in here. I don't know what it is specifically, but some kind of woody note. And then there's also a sweetness, which I'm guessing probably comes from some kind of vanilla. It is quite, that sweetness is quite sweet. So I feel like there might be rose in here as well, because it has that really lovely sweetness that rose can sometimes get when coupled with vanilla in the right way. I don't know, that's really not helpful. It's almost caramelly, but it's not caramel. That doesn't really help either. It's quite sweet, but it's not heavy, it's not gourmand. Then you have this beautiful sort of muskiness that is really fluffy and diffusive, and it sort of tones down. I think the woods and this musk sort of tone down that sweetness just a tad. So there's definitely a sweetness there, and you can definitely smell it more when you put your nose right up to your skin. But when you've just enjoying the cloud around you, it's just a subtle sweetness that feels really clean. So I'm really surprised. I haven't tried any of the Kayalis in great detail, and that's partly because I've been on this no-buy year, and I just, wasn't going to go out of my way to buy a heap of samples. I thought I'd probably manage to get something later on. But I'm kind of surprised by this. I remember hearing people talk about this, I don't know, not too long ago, maybe a few months ago, maybe around mid-year or something, and people were a bit ambivalent towards this, but I personally really like this. That said, if I had sampled this, a year ago, my opinion probably would have been different. It's just that I'm really into this kind of fragrance at the moment, and I really enjoyed this. So That is Musk 12 by Kayali. Next up, I have a little sample of Labo's Musk 25. The perfumer behind this is Frank Volkeld. Who's behind the Kayali one? I don't know. I haven't actually seen a name associated with that, so apologies for that. This one is a very clean, soapy musk. It's got a piercing sort of cleanliness to it, which I think might be aldehydes. It kind of reminds me of a really clean floral soap. I do really like this. The soapiness isn't too heavy. It's really fresh smelling, but it doesn't smell like laundry detergent either, which is one thing that has always kind of put me off a lot of musk perfumes. Is I don't want to smell like laundry detergent. Although I do have, having said that, I was a big fan of Aqua Universalis from MFK, the EDT, and that I think did smell a little bit like laundry detergent. This smells like you have literally just stepped out of the shower and you're reaching for your towel. So you're still dripping wet, you've literally just been scrubbing yourself and you've just rinsed off, you're reaching for your towel and you get it like a waft of the soapiness coming off your skin. It's that fresh and clean. That's what it smells like to me. I mean, that said, there is aldehydes in here and I love an aldehyde. So, this won't be for everybody, because if you don't like aldehydes, then it's probably, you won't like this. Yeah, this is lovely. I remember when I wore it on my skin a few days ago, it got to a point where that out of the shower freshness died down a little bit and it felt a little bit more, it reminds me of standing in a flower garden sort of at noon, so it's very bright, and in the distance you can see a body of water and you can see the twinkling on the water from the sun in the broad daylight, in the noon daylight. And for some reason that's what it reminds me of, and I feel like you get this sort of breeze, gentle breeze wafting over, and you get this sort of really fresh element from the water, but you're not right next to the water. But then you've also got these other sort of really light florals around you, so you're getting these elements of a dry floral garden in the height of the day, basically. I really like this actually. I think it might be a little bit too much for some, and when I wore it on my skin I really had to go easy on the sprays because it was quite powerful, I recall, but it's really pretty and it smells very clean. It's got that clean, fresh smell without the sweetness of the Kayali. Okay, so next up we have Myth by Ellis Brooklyn. I haven't really explored this house very much, to be honest. This has a very shampoo-y sort of opening to it that is quickly turning a little bit soapy. It kind of reminds me of the smell of a dry bar of soap, before you get it wet. It smells like dry soap, which is weird, but it also smells a little bit shampoo-y. There's something kind of piercing in here as well, but not in the way as it was with Musk 25. I think Musk 25, it's just such a strong fragrance and it's got such a hefty dose of aldehydes that, yeah, it can feel a little bit piercing until it softens. This one I did put on skin and it didn't really agree with me. It does that thing that a lot of fragrances do that use some kind of synthetic white musk. I don't know what the aroma chemical is, but it does not sit well on my skin at all. When I compare this to the other two that I've just tried, the musks in there are so much softer in the wear. This has a really sharp piercing element which doesn't agree with me at all, and I think I get a similar thing with Pure Musk from Narciso Rodriguez. In principle, I really love that perfume, but I think I prefer it on other people and not on myself, because on me, I get this in the dry down, I just get this really sort of piercing musk that almost, it smells clean, but at the same time, it kind of also smells a bit dirty, like a bit sour or something. And that's what this one does on me as well. Oh, it's giving me a headache just from sniffing it, so I'm going to put that away. That one is definitely a no from me. Wasn't a fan of that one. All right, next we have one that I know I do like. This is Milky Musk by Parle. This has been getting a lot of airtime lately in the past year. This is lovely. I remember trying this a couple of years ago and just thinking it was really great, but I had so many woody fragrances at the time, and I think that was when I had first, I think I discovered this around the same time I discovered Sandalwood Temple by Sana Jardin, and I ultimately went in the direction of Sandalwood Temple. But I think if I had those two in front of me today, I would have a hard time picking, because this is gorgeous. So this is quite peppery. and woody once again. The woodiness is very dry and you get the woodiness right at the front, but it also has this really soft, fluffy muskiness about it, and it just sits so beautifully on the skin. I really, really like this. It's lactonic, but it's not super lactonic. It's not, because it doesn't have the sweetness of a lot of sort of lactonic fragrances that makes it smell like some kind of milky pudding or a milky drink. Yeah, it's because of the woodiness and the pepperiness. It just smells so, so good. I really enjoy this one. This is possibly a contender for purchase when my no buy is over, but I haven't decided yet. I love this fragrance. I think it's very well done and I can see why it's been getting so much love. It is just something that you could put on any time. It would work in all weather. It's fantastic. All right, so that's a big tick for me. Liked that one. All right, so next up, I have this little sample of Milk Personal by Commodity. So the Personal range is in the white bottles and they are the ones that sit a little bit closer to the skin. They don't project a huge amount. I had the whole exploration kit from Commodity. They very kindly sent it to me several months ago. I did a review on my blog of the fragrances and also on Instagram. I really liked the Commodity fragrances. The whole range to me had this element of being molecular type fragrances because they all had this sort of airiness about them, this translucence about them. Even the Bold range, which, you know, featured a lot of sort of heavy hitter notes and, you know, vanillas and woody notes and stuff like that. So it was kind of weird because on the one hand they felt, you know, quite bold and strong fragrances, but they had this diffusive airiness about them which made them so easy to wear across the board. There were quite a few that I really enjoyed. Milk was one of them, and I know Milk is a very popular fragrance from the line. It's very musky, it's kind of sweet, and I quite liked the one, the Milk Expressive, which was the mid-range one, which also had a mahogany note in it, and I really enjoyed the mahogany note. They really managed to capture that sort of redwood element. But I actually gave the rest of the exploration kit away to a friend, but I kept the Milk Personal because I wanted to do this video and also because I enjoy wearing this one. So this one is quite sweet. It's a sweet musk. It's quite lactonic. It reminds me of sweetened milk. It reminds me of those milk candies that you buy, the little milk bottles. So it's not something that I think I would want to wear all the time, but I did enjoy layering this under other things that were less sweet in profile, just to give whatever, if I was wearing something really woody, I quite enjoyed wearing this underneath it, just to give it a bit of sweetness and a little bit of a milkiness, a creaminess. This, yeah, I really enjoy this one. This is one of those fragrances that in principle I wouldn't think I would gravitate towards because it does have that really sweet aspect to it. However, it is also extremely addictive. So it's just one of those smells that you go, oh, that smells really yummy. So that is Milk Personal by Commodity. This is one that I got in a subscription service. This is called Teint de Neige by Lorenzo Villoresi. The Teint de Neige apparently means the colour of snow, and it's meant to smell like perfumed powder. So I've got the little card here. It's very powdery. It's a very powdery musk. It has an odd mix of that laundry detergent musk coupled with powder, coupled with pink musk sticks. And I know that for the people overseas, the whole musk stick thing is an enigma to you because apparently they're not sold, well, at least they're not sold in the US and Europe. So it's a candy basically here in Australia. I'll try and put a photo up on the screen. I didn't think that they were limited to Australia. They're probably not. I think they're probably sold in Asia as well. But in any case, they're not widely available around the globe, which shocks me because they're just such a staple candy from my childhood. Not that I particularly liked eating them that much, but they were everywhere, particularly in the 80s. This is probably a little bit too much for me. I think the powderiness coupled with the muskiness, coupled with the laundry detergent, coupled with that candy sweetness, whew, it's a bit much for me. It's very pretty, and I can see, I haven't put this on skin, so I can see this giving off quite a lovely scent cloud, but it's, to me, what's happening with this and what's sort of making me think twice about it is the fact that it's giving me similar vibes to Frederic Malle's Lipstick Rose. It doesn't smell the same as Lipstick Rose, although there are some similar elements, so maybe it has a dominant rose note in here. I don't actually have the notes. Yeah, there is rose. So it's jasmine, musk, powdery notes, rose, sweet notes, tonka bean, and ylang ylang. Yeah, it's just giving me a similar thing to Lipstick Rose, where it's just too much sweetness coupled with a powderiness, coupled with a muskiness. I feel like it's hard to breathe and it makes me feel a little bit ill. So I love Lipstick Rose and I do wear it, but I have to be very particular about the day that I wear it and how I wear it. Like I can't spray it anywhere up here. I don't even like spraying it on my arms necessarily. I'll usually spray it on my abdomen and then put clothes on over the top. And usually I'm wearing it in winter time, so you've got like heavier clothes. You just get this very soft hint of the fragrance rather than like this big full-on blast in your face of powder with musk and sweetness, which is very heavy. So yeah, I think that's the other thing. I think this is not as heavy as the Frederic Malle, but it does pack a punch still. But I think I have a feeling that the scent cloud of this might be a little bit more diffusive once you've put it on skin. And then the last one is one that I do like. So I'm going to spritz this on my other arm, and I only have a tiny bit left of this sample. This is Apollonia by Xerjoff. I confess, there are not many Xerjoff fragrances that I really enjoy. For some reason, in principle, I think there's a lot of Xerjoff fragrances that I would enjoy, but there's always something in them that just brings it down a notch for me. I don't know what it is. I appreciate the fragrances for what they are. I appreciate that they're very well done and they have beautiful presentation, but for the most part, I don't love them, even when I think that I will. So Herba Pura was a really good example. Based on the notes, I really thought I was going to enjoy that one for a summery type of fragrance. That did not work for me at all. I do own Shuncoin, which is a very powdery vanilla. It's touted as being a vanilla fragrance, but it isn't that sweet and it's not that vanilla-y, and I think it's got a lot of woodiness in it. I think it might have like a cashmere wood in it. So I really enjoy that one, and I think I enjoy it because it's not so sweet. What else have I tried? I think I tried Starlight recently and I actually really enjoyed that one, so I'll talk about that a different time. It's got a very, very heavy on the cardamom and I really like it. And then the only other one that we do own, but it's in Matt's cabinet, is Neo, which is the citrusy one, which is beautiful. I really, really like that. Anyway, I digress. So I guess the reason I give you that backstory is because I went in trying this not expecting to really think much of it, because that's just how it works out for me and Xerjoff. I don't know what the notes are, and in fact I don't think Xerjoff even publishes what the notes are, but to me this, if I just smell it and tell you what I'm smelling, I get a really soft musk that smells clean. It smells a little bit woody, but it's not super dry woodiness, and not overtly woody either. I think in the scent cloud you don't really necessarily get woodiness. And I feel like I get something, I don't know if it's juicy in the sense of like a fleshy tropical fruit, like a nectarine or something. A nectarine's tropical? Or if it's something like an ylang ylang note. I feel like I'm getting something a little bit tropical in here, or solar perhaps. It definitely has this element of reminding me of sunny summer holidays by the beach, even though it's not a by the beach fragrance, but it just gives me this vibe of summer days. I feel like there's something, just a hint, sort of earthy in here as well, but doesn't smell like dirt. It smells, I don't know, there's kind of like a denseness to it. Maybe it's iris, could be. You know what? When I really bury my nose into it, which I know most people aren't doing when you're actually wearing a fragrance, but when I really bury my nose into it, I feel like I'm getting something a little bit animalic, but the fragrance doesn't come off as being animalic if you just sort of let it waft around you. I'm really analysing it here. But I feel like there's just something in there that's a little bit on the darker side. For the most part, this feels like a very light, very elegant, very soft, white musky kind of fragrance that has a bit of florals in there. Maybe it's the florals that are giving it this, because there's just something in there that smells a little bit earthy and a little bit dank. Maybe it's not animalic, it's sort of, there's a slight dankness to it in the undertone, but it's so subtle that if you weren't, you know, being pedantic like I am, you probably wouldn't even notice it, to be honest. I really like this. I need to get my hands on a slightly bigger sample or a bigger decant so that I can do a full body wear, because I feel like as I only have this tiny little sample vial, when I spritz it on, I'm usually only sort of using one spritz here or there, and it kind of does disappear on me after a few hours. It's sort of undetectable within probably about 4 hours on me. So I'm curious to know whether that's just how it performs as a sample. Time will tell if it's my Xerjoff or if I have to keep searching for my Xerjoff. Anyway, they are the musky fragrances that I have been sampling lately. I hope you found this useful or interesting at least. Please do share your thoughts. If you've tried any of these fragrances or all of these fragrances, please do share your thoughts down below and let me know like what you thought of them and what you got from them. I'm always curious to know what other people are getting from things, and I enjoy it because I've just realized I've got the string from my hat hanging there, and I also enjoy reading those sorts of comments and seeing what different people are getting from things, because then when I go back to smell these things, it's always interesting to see if I then pick that up. As always, perfume is just so subjective. It really just does depend on how things play on your skin and, you know, what notes that you are attuned to smelling or picking up. So anyway, it's always fun. All right, well, I'm going to go, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Please do give this a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe if you want to see more. See you soon. Bye.